Welcome into the PFF Draft Review, powered by PFF Edge and Elite. Today it's all about the Seattle Seahawks, Mike, and they make their first pick at number 27 overall. It's Rashad Penny out of San Diego State. We were on set at Sports Illustrated as this was all happening, and the guys on the other set were like, man, the NFL did not have Rashad Penny this high. This is a crazy pick. This surprised everyone, and we were like, hey guys, we're over here. This was our number 2 running back on the board. But we were also torn by the pick because, in general, we don't love taking running backs in the first round. So on one hand, our number 2 running back, right where we had him, kind of as a late first round type of talent. And then, maybe surprised the NFL a little bit, but not us. But, should Seattle have gone running back when they have all these other holes on the roster? That's the tough part.
That is the tough part because as much as we love Rashad Penny, and there's a lot of reasons to love him, and I'll get into in a little bit, but the fact is, everything in our grading and everything in our data suggests that offensive line play is far more correlated to success in the running game than talent of a running back. How good the running back is doesn't always necessarily lead to a successful running game, but a talented offensive line does, and as pretty much every Seahawks fan knows, the offensive line has been an issue, still is an issue there, and so he might be one of the best running backs in the draft, but he's going to be hard-pressed to be finding holes behind that offensive line.
But I think even GM John Schneider was quoting some of our numbers, maybe straight out of the PFF Draft Guide, his post-draft press conference. And the one that we pulled out that really stood out this entire draft season was yards per carry when contacted at or behind the line of scrimmage. So when your line is not doing the work for you, of course, Saquon Barkley was the guy we were using it against. He was 57th out of 58 in this draft class, only 0.46 yards per carry when that happened. But Rashad Penny was number 1. 3.32 yards per carry when he was contacted at or behind the line of scrimmage. Look, it's only one number, but I think this is one of the reasons why we were so high on Penny is even when his run blocking was not doing the job, he was still finding a way to be productive.
This speaks to running styles of each. One, Saquon Barkley was a home run hitter, always looking for the big play, not necessarily running downhill. Rashad Penny, on the other hand, is going to take what is given there. He is not going to be bouncing out, looking for the big play. If there's 3 yards to be gained there, he's going to gain those 3 yards every play, and that's valuable in an offense. And so from that perspective, I think I like him where he did get drafted because he is that talented of a runner to where bad blocking in front of him, he's still going to be continuously churning the ball forward. And, I mean, we saw him there at San Diego State. He's running behind a fullback on over 200 of his carries last year. He's running the same concepts he's going to be running in the NFL and is one of the most productive running back seasons of all time in college football. He really is, in terms of running back vision and the things running backs are supposed to be able to do, about as good as I've seen coming out.
Yeah, and the other number that I think really sums that up is elusive rating, 123.3. That was best among draft-eligible running backs, forced 80 missed tackles on the ground, also number 1. The question with Penny, though, he's a good receiver, so he'll be able to help out in the pass game, but the question comes in pass protection. Last 2 years has been disastrous. 40.6 grade and a 37.6 grade out of 0 to 100. That is disastrous. So I think you just have to protect him in pass pro by not asking him to do it, at least not right away.
I mean, he's big enough. The effort and teaching a guy how to do it is I'll take a bigger back before I'm taking a smaller back to teach him how to do it. So from that perspective, he could get better. It's not that he's, never going to be able to pass protect.
But he's a good receiver, so at least that part of it is one of the reasons why he could be out there on passing downs. Beyond that, they did not have a second-round pick. They go in the 3rd round. It's Rasheem Green out of USC. I'm not torn on this pick, but I think you just have to understand his strengths and weaknesses too. I mean, he was a pretty good pass rusher last year in this class that doesn't have a whole lot of good interior pass rushers. He still might be better on the edge, on early downs, because he got absolutely demoralized in one game last year that really stood out as that Notre Dame game when he had to go up against Mike McGlinchey and Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, demoralized is being kind. I mean, he got his butt whipped up and down that field. I think he was taken about 6 to 7 yards off line of scrimmage on multiple occasions in that game, in the run game. He's not a 3 technique at the NFL level. He's going to be playing on the edge. In that game, he was going up against 2 top 10 picks and playing the 3 technique, so he kind of got exposed. But off the edge, he had a handful of great pass rushing snaps that I loved watching. He's exceptional with his bull rush. He's a very good athlete. So a little raw because he hasn't played there, but he'll have to play at the edge in the NFL. And they just need the help along that defensive line. No Cliff Averill anymore. No Michael Bennett. All of a sudden, the strength of the team is one of their weaknesses at this point.
Yeah, so even playing out of position, 85.3 pass rush grade last year, very solid grade. And you can ignore that 52.1 run defense grade if you protect him from a scheme standpoint. That 52.1 did come very heavily against those Notre Dame guys who really destroyed everybody in their path last year. So Rasheem Green adds some defensive line depth. Round 4, Will Dissly, more of a blocking tight end. And then you get to round 5, and the other big name in this class, Shaquem Griffin, a guy who, of course, is known for his story of playing with only one hand and just being phenomenal on the field from a production standpoint. And it's funny because internally, our question wasn't so much about the hand, it was more about his usage at the next level because he's got the size of an off-the-ball linebacker, a guy that should be playing the run and playing in coverage, but his on-field production in college came off the edge as a pass rusher.
Yeah, and I kept saying throughout the draft process, that Bruce Irvin role in the Seattle defense where you're the Sam linebacker on early downs and then on third downs you'll drop down and go up against tackles and rush the passer was a perfect fit for his skill set and his size. All of a sudden he goes to Seattle where, all of a sudden they have that role for him.
So I think how about that?
I think that it was a very good fit and a very good value in the 5th round because he is undersized, but the dude can still rush the passer.
Yeah.
And he's still going to be productive as a pass rusher at the next level. I will bet money on that. So even the hand concern is not a thing to me. I don't think it's actually going to limit him much at the NFL level, if at all. So they got to steal. That's one of my favorite picks of the draft.
4.38 40-yard dash and then a 16.9 pass rush productivity. That's second highest in the class. Mike, what about his size, though? I mean, that was the bigger question, right? You've got a guy in that 225, 230 range rushing the passer. Is that still too light to make an impact at the NFL level, or is his only hope this role that I keep bringing up every year about this guy that you move along the defensive front and try to isolate him on running backs? Can he beat tackles at the next level?
Well, that's why I said on third downs, all of a sudden he's a weapon as the looper on stunts. He can slant. There's that sort of athleticism. Now, on early downs, it could get exposed in the running game. He could be moved off the line of scrimmage. But when they're going to pass, I don't think just having that sort of size, disadvantage is going to be that big of a deal for him, especially against right tackles in the NFL. Right tackles in the NFL, a lot of them can still barely move, can still barely get depth out of their stances. And a guy running a 4.38, they're never going to have seen that. They just never will have seen that before in their lives, rushing the passer at them. So from that perspective, could be a little scary.
It's like you're playing a video game, just throwing that 200-pound speedy safety off the edge, but we'll see how it works in the NFL. The Seahawks also got 2 guys that we would classify as steals in the 5th round, one of whom was a punter.
Yes.
We have a punter as a potential steal. Michael Dixon out of Texas. Why would we even tout a punter as a steal?
Well, one, our punting is going to translate to the NFL better than kicking because you have bigger sample sizes and you can't fake a big leg. You can't fake punting at 65 yards. That's not how this works, and he routinely did that. He has the highest punter grade we've ever given in our 4 years of punting, and a punting grade that translates directly to the NFL. I mean, we grade college punters the same way we grade NFL punters, and he had a grade that would have put him, in the top 10 to 15 of NFL punters. So he's going to immediately make an impact, which is more than you can say for pretty much every 5th round pick in the NFL. The late round picks after the 4th round just don't tend to step in and start, don't tend to make any impact on a roster, and he's going to be doing that. He's going to be a huge upgrade at punter for them. So from that perspective, I think it's a steal.
Michael Dixon out of Texas, the highest grade we've ever given a punter in college, and there's a lot of not so good punters in college because they're doing the rollout stuff and they're not trusted, but the fact that Dixon was able to make NFL punts in college, very, very impressive. And then the other potential steal is Jamarco Jones out of Ohio State, a guy that we had more of as a second-round player in this offensive line class that had so many question marks at tackle near the top. I mean, he could truly develop into a very good player as a 5th rounder and one of the best pass protectors in this entire class.
Yeah, I was very surprised. He was one of the surprises for me to have fallen because he's so technically sound in pass protection. I've said, and you can see the quote right there, it says he had the prettiest pass sets in this entire class. He's already well developed in that. Only allowed 11 pressures all last season on 432 pass blocking snaps. You can find that in your PFF draft guide. He can pass protect. I think that's going to be able to translate quickly to the next level. Had a higher pass blocking grade coming out than Taylor Decker did, who went in the 1st round. Now he's not near the athlete that Decker is, but he has the length, he has the size to hold up a tackle at the NFL, and Lord knows the Seahawks could use a tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely worth a shot in the 5th round. Jamarco Jones also continued to improve every single year at Ohio State, a potential steal in the 5th round. Don't forget about 7th round quarterback Alex McGough, one of the highest graded PFF quarterbacks, 88.3 last year. Doesn't have all the physical tools.
Pretty good athlete, though.
Yeah, pretty good athlete. And when you're talking about 7th round picks, go get that productive guy. We like it. So that's your Seattle Seahawks PFF draft recap powered by PFF Edge and Elite.